So I've been talking a lot on my channel recently about this new video that Jagex has posted where they have a look ahead to what they're going to be doing this year, and they talk a lot about their what they call road to restoration. And listen, it's gotten me really excited about this game. I made a whole video about how I think these changes are really bringing us into a new era of RuneScape, and I think that the game should be called RuneScape 4 because it's so different. So if you want to see that video, you can check it out after this one. But today, I want to rank on a tier list the road to restoration changes that they're making because I'm really excited about these, but I'm more excited about some of them than I am about the others. So we're going to be ranking their road to restoration changes from S to D. I did take out E because really there are no changes in here that I outright hate. So yeah, we're going to be going through this list. Let's go ahead and start with our very first one. All right, our first one is the removal of Treasure Hunter, and I'm not going to talk much about this one because honestly, it goes right into S tier because this right here, the removal of Treasure Hunter and their entire new way of looking at monetization and user experience and stuff like that, it seems like they care more about the user experience and how fun the game is and how it feels to play over milking every last penny out of us, which is how it felt before. This is a major step. Luckily, it's not the only thing they're doing. So S tier for this, but let's go ahead and move on because we all know this sucked. We all wanted this gone, and it's gone. Hallelujah, praise God. What's next on the list? The UI update. I have been talking about this for a while, like behind the scenes. How the old UI, you know, I liked how you could customize it, right? That was something I like about RuneScape 3 more than old school RuneScape, is that you can customize the UI. But the UI is very, very hard to understand to new players, but you know what? Also to me. And I've been playing this game since 2007, so I've been here for a while. And I still sometimes am like, where the heck? How do you find whatever, ABC? I like that they're going back to this earthy brown color, which they're kind of doing for the whole game, and we'll get more into that when we get to the graphical updates. But I like this move to the more stone look, the more brown earthy tones, and the default UI is actually usable. Whereas before, the default UI was not usable. The only thing I don't love is the round minimap. When I played recently, it wasn't round, it was still square, so I don't know if that's something you can toggle in the settings, but if they just make this default for everybody, I would not like that because I do like scaling my minimap. I make my minimap pretty big. I have an ultra-wide monitor, so I make my minimap pretty big, like over here on the side. And one thing I don't like about old school's minimap is that it's fixed like this and you can't change the size. But it's a cool idea if it's optional. But the rest of it, love the idea. Make it, the UI look better. Make it make more sense, you know, especially for new players. I will say I'm not like, yes, because it doesn't affect me as much because I've gotten used to the new UI, but I know that it was a problem for onboarding new players, which is how your game grows, right? You have to onboard new players. So I'm going to put this in A because it's definitely a really good change, but it's not one that I'm like, yes, this is going to make my experience better. The new look is nicer, which I like, so anyway, that's why it's an A. Next, we have the Cosmetic override toggles. This is a cool one. I went in and did this almost right away. So you can see hide other players' worn customizations. You can click that and hide other players' animation customizations. I like this change because it's going to bring more players to the game. I will say I'm not totally against cosmetics. I never have been. I do think some of them have gotten out of hand and there's stuff that just does not fit the look of the game and it takes you out of it. So I got this cosmetic from an event, I think, from a seasonal event, and alone, like by itself, it looks really cool, right? Like this is a really cool outfit. In a different game, this would be awesome. But I stopped wearing it after a while because I was like, this just not, this is taking me out of the game. One thing people really loved about RuneScape is if you see someone wearing something cool, you know, in old school RuneScape, you can be like, oh man, I want to get that. How can I get that? That's cool. And I mean, most of the time, it's just they did some kind of cool thing in the game. Whereas RuneScape 3, you see something cool and you're like, oh, that's cool. And you find out, oh, they had to pay 15 bucks or whatever. I don't know what the prices were, but they had to pay 15 bucks. So like they didn't earn that. Cosmetics were a big reason that the look and feel of RuneScape was just wrong. Like it just felt, it was just like there was no cohesion, you know, there was no visual cohesion. I think this is going to be a net positive. I think the people who are upset by this change are going to be much, much fewer than the people who like this change. So I'm going to put this in A tier, but I'm actually going to put this above the UI change because I love this change. I'm not like, yes, cosmetics are gone. Yes, I'm not that pumped, but I was like, this is a good change. So this goes at the top of A. The Misthalin and Asgarnia graphical refreshes. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, where it seems like they're going more for an earthy brown tone, which is kind of what RuneScape used to look like, right? Like if you go play old school RuneScape right now, I would say old school RuneScape has that feel, like more of an earthy, you know, brownish, medieval looking, right? And I think that RuneScape had kind of gone too far into the bright, vibrant colors, and I really like it. And I like, you know, the old castle, not the old castle, but the previous RuneScape 3 castle. It had a weird thing where like, it was like the bricks were too detailed. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it had a weird look to it. And this has a softer, more like rounded look, and I really like this look a lot. And I like that they started with free to play, so these changes are not locked behind members content. So they started with free to play, so this will affect all players. And I really like this change. I think the graphical mismatch has been a huge problem, and while they haven't done the entire game yet, I mean, of course not, it's a major undertaking, I'm excited that they're really, really focusing on this, and I hope that they will also go look at places that still don't look modernized. There are a lot of places in the game that just look like old school RuneScape, but with shaders on top. I feel like that used to not be a high priority for Jagex for some reason. Probably because they were prioritizing monetization. But it seemed like they just weren't prioritizing updating all the areas to look modern. I'm gonna put this in S tier because this makes me super excited because I love this style. I have ever since Fort 4 and 3 and Necromancy. I'm excited for them to unify the game. For once, the game has not been visually, you know, cohesive since it was what old school RuneScape is now. Like old school RuneScape does a great job keeping their stuff visually cohesive for the most part. And RuneScape 3 has been terrible at that, but I hope this initiative will change that. So yeah, I love this S tier. All right, this broom represents world declutter. So they're decluttering the game world. This, so far, they haven't been very specific about what that means. I don't really know, you know? I'm interested to see what this means. I'm interested to see what decluttering the world actually means. And there's a few things that we're gonna talk about today where it's like, okay, my reaction is like, okay, on paper, that sounds cool, but I gotta see how it's actually going to, you know, be executed and how it's going to feel in game. So I'm gonna put this at a C, not because I think it's a bad idea, mostly just because I don't know what they mean. They haven't really gone into much detail, and you know, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what this really means. It's kind of an unknown, but I like the idea, you know, like the idea of decluttering the world. That's great, but I just need to wait for more information. The combat update. So they are drastically, well, not drastically, because last time they drastically changed combat was Evolution of Combat, but they are making a lot of changes to combat to make it feel nicer. The thing about this one, same thing with decluttering the world. This looks good on paper, right? There's a lot of stuff that I've read about that I'm like, that's really interesting, you know? But again, this is all gonna come down to how does it feel? Does it feel nice? Do these changes actually make things feel better? It sounds like they might, but again, it's something that I'm like, I'm gonna have to actually see how this feels when I get my hands on, you know, the new changes. I'm gonna put this in B because the combat, especially since Necromancy, has felt kind of out of whack a little bit. You know, there's been a lot of bloat in the combat system. And so I do like the idea of them kind of slimming it down, cutting the fat. So I'm putting it in B for that reason, but it's also in B because I'm gonna have to see how it feels, man. Like, this sounds fine, but I need to see how it feels. So it's in B. All of their balancing updates. So they're gonna start by balancing early game stuff, and then they're also gonna do mid game and late game. Again, this is another thing that I'm like, you know, cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you're giving these things the attention that they deserve, right? First of all, I don't know how bad these things are right now. I didn't realize that they were an issue, and that could just be me being oblivious. And I'm not saying they shouldn't change it. I'm just saying I wasn't like, man, they need to rebalance early game and mid game and late game. I really don't know. And again, this is going to be something that is, you know, I'm going to have to wait and see how it feels when they make the changes. So this is going to be in C, and it's going to be right over here next to the declutter, because again, it sounds cool, sounds nice, but I'm going to have to wait and see what that's like. I'm going to have to wait and see what that feels like. So it's in C. Dailyscape overhaul. So this is one that I have some mixed feelings about, because I definitely 100% agree with the sentiment that dailies create this feeling of doing chores, right? I could log into RuneScape wanting to do quests, right? But when I log in, I see that the statues have reset, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go do my statues, obviously. And then I see that the clam has reset. I'm like, oh, well, I gotta go do my clam, obviously. And then I remember that all of the shops have reset their stock, and I'm like, well, I gotta go stock up on stuff at the shops, right? And then, you know, and then I'm like, oh, Herbie Werby is reset, I'm gonna do that. Oh, the circus has reset, I'm gonna go do that. And then look, you've spent like an hour, maybe more, just doing these things. And yes, you got XP, but you didn't actually log in to just gain XP. You logged in because you wanted to do quests. And you're like, I've been playing for an hour and I haven't done any quests. And now that I'm older, right, my time is very precious. I have a wife, I have a son, I have responsibilities, right? I can't play RuneScape all day. The thing I'm nervous about is some of these dailies are the best way to train certain skills, right? Divination, the Guthuxian caches. That's a great way to train that skill, especially early on. You can shoot through several early layers. And someone in my Discord was like, you can just use dungeoneering. But I hate dungeoneering, so that's not an option. And again, they haven't really gone into detail about what this means. Are they totally getting rid of dailies? Are they altering them? Are they making them less pressurized? I don't know. This is in C because I'm nervous about this change, but I do want a change to be made, but I also don't know what they're going to be doing. So this is a big question mark for me. This is a big question mark for me. I need more information. I need more context. And if I know they're going to give more context eventually this year. And when they do, this might jump up to S, you know, I don't know. But right now, because it's a huge question mark, I can't be too excited about it. In fact, I'm going to put this in D. And again, not because I hate it, but just because this is a huge, like, I just really don't know how to feel about this, you know? As of now, it's in D because I just don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to think. I don't have enough information. So it's in D, but again, like I said, once we find out more information, it might shoot up to S. But for now, it's a huge, huge question mark. Free RuneMetrics. This is automatically S tier. Not even because I love RuneMetrics. I've never used RuneMetrics. Never once. But to me, this just further shows that their new mindset is what I talked about over here with not trying to milk you of every cent that you have, but more focused on player experience. I like you know what? It's in A tier because I'm not that excited about it. It was in S tier on principle, but the more I was talking about it, the more I was like, I don't even know if I'd ever use RuneMetrics, but it's still in A tier. It's not going to go below that because, like I said, I love the new mindset, right? They're not trying to milk us. They're more concerned about like how it feels to play these games. I love that Jagex is doing this, and I hope they continue to hold on to this mindset of it's not money first, it's players first. And when you put players first, the money will come, right? So I like that. It's an A. The aura overhaul, again, they haven't really gone into like detail about this, but I didn't really use the auras because of exactly what they talk about of like, oh, it's a thing that you have to do, right? If there's anything in the game that I feel like, oh, I have to do this to be efficient, then I don't like it. I'm like, let me play, man. Just let me play the game. Like, obviously, there are times where I want to do the meta. I want to be efficient. But this is something that you feel pressured to do, right? I'm not putting it in D, though, even though this one is also kind of a question mark. I'm not putting it in D because I didn't really like auras anyway. I'm excited to see what they do with them because I did not like auras. Unlike with dailies, where there were some dailies that I did appreciate the XP that it gave me, so I'm kind of nervous about what this change means. I didn't even use auras. I've used them, I know how they work, but I stopped using them because I was like, I do not care about this. I don't care about this. I don't want to do it anymore. So it's higher because I am actually excited to see how they change this. So I am excited to see what they do with that. But it is a question mark. I don't know what they're going to do. It could be worse for all I know. So that's why it's not in A, but it's in B because I do want to see it get changed. Player avatar update. This is so exciting. I love this picture they had on their website. So this shows like this is the current avatar. Like, look at that. I can't even explain to you why, but it just does not look good. You know, if you were trying to be retro, like old school RuneScape is leaning into its retro look, right? This is not trying to look retro. This is trying to be modern, right? RuneScape 3 is trying to be the modern version of the game. So then I look at these and I'm like, man, if the finished models look anything like this, that would be cool. This looks like a 2026 MMO. I am very excited about this, and I'm gonna put the player avatar in S tier. Again, you know, we haven't really seen what it'll look like in motion, but I love this. I love this look, and if it looks anything like this, I'm down for it. And we need a change. The player avatar is outdated. So I'm so excited about that. S tier for sure. Improvements to the Grand Exchange. I've read the article where they talk about this. I heard it in the video. I could not tell you what these changes are gonna be. Again, like I said, I've read it. I listened to them talk about it, but I think it's just above my pay grade a little bit. First of all, I don't know what's wrong with the GE. I've been playing Iron Man for the last year though, so I haven't really interacted with the GE, but I don't know what's really wrong with it right now. Now, I'm not saying there's not a problem, I just don't know what it is. When they were explaining their changes, I was like, I don't really know what this means on a practical level, like how that would affect me, you know? The way I learn best is by getting my hands on it. That's why a lot of this I'm like, I have to see how it feels in game, you know? But this is one that I just really don't care about. Like, I'm like, I don't know, I don't care. Like, I'm not saying it won't improve things, I don't know, but I don't know. I just don't care about this that much. And maybe that's because I've been playing Iron Man, but this is in D tier. Again, I'm not saying this is a bad change. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do this. I just don't care about this. And I also don't really understand how it's going to affect gameplay on a practical level. Yeah, it's in D tier. I just don't really care, but go for it. I mean, make the changes, but I just don't really care. Social improvements. They are improving the social aspect of RuneScape, which, you know, RuneScape is an MMO, so there should be good social aspects. You know, you should be able to talk to people. It should be easier to talk to people. And the changes they're making seem really interesting, but this is not something that's a high priority for me. I could easily log into RuneScape and play by myself for hours and not be sad and not be like, I didn't talk to anybody, you know? I'm not saying they should get rid of social features because it's an MMO, obviously, but this is just not something I care so much about, but it seems like these are cool changes. So I'm gonna put this in C. I don't care so much, but I'm not as apathetic as I am with the Grand Exchange changes, but I don't care personally that much, but it's a cool change. So I'm putting the RuneLite logo here, but this actually represents, in this tier list, plugin support for RuneScape 3. Oh my gosh, that is really cool. This is something that I've been talking about with my friends and other people who play RuneScape 3 for a long time. I want quest helpers so bad, especially for quests that I've already done before that I'm just doing again, either for the experience or for an item or something like that. You know, give me quest helper, because I'm already looking at the guide on another monitor, but it would just be much easier if everything was right here on the same game window, and it just tells me what to click and then tells me what items to get and blah, blah, blah. I love that. I love that. And I'm excited to see what other people will create. And that's the thing is, like, my friend was like, what plugins would we even need? Like, what plugins do you even need for RuneScape 3? And I was like, that's the exciting thing. When you open up community plugins, someone will create something that you never would have thought of, but then you see it and you're like, that's cool. I love that. And that's a lot of old school RuneScape plugins are like that, where I'm like, I never would have thought of that, but that's really cool, you know? To me, this is S tier. I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to see what comes of it. I'm excited to see what plugins are made for this. I think this is cool. I think this is a great idea. Last but certainly not least, the microtransaction item banishment. So at the end of this year, winter of this year, they're going to officially banish all of the microtransaction items. And this one is a tough one to talk about because there are some people who think this is a black and white issue. They're like, listen, microtransactions and free XP have ruined RuneScape 3. So it's a good thing they're not selling them anymore. It's a good thing that they're taking them away. I agree it's a good thing they're not selling them anymore. I don't know how I feel about them just taking them all away, because there are a lot of people who bought stuff like this with real money before they knew it was going to be taken out of the game. And they still have a ton of it, and they're trying to go through it all, but they might not be able to use it all before the end of this year. I feel like someone could make an argument of like, well, they shouldn't have bought it in the first place because it was ruining the game. Well, it's one of those things where like, Treasure Hunter was ruining the game, but if you weren't playing an Iron Man, you felt pressured to interact with Treasure Hunter because Treasure Hunter could give you XP and it could give you really cool items. It was almost like if you weren't playing an Iron Man, the meta was you had to use your keys. And I think the same thing could be said about this. If there was free XP that you could use on your character, I'm sure some people would be like, why wouldn't I do that? Even if they don't like it on principle, they're like, there's free XP on the table. Of course, I'm going to take it. So the idea of just ripping it away from everyone who already owns it, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm going to put this in B because getting rid of the free XP stuff is good. Taking it away from everyone who already had it, I don't know how I feel about that. And like I said, I think some people will see it as black and white. It's good, get it out of the game, get rid of it. But again, I don't know. I do think something needs to be done there with people who have it. I just don't know what the answer is. Maybe there isn't a right answer. Maybe what Jagex is doing is the best answer. But I don't know. It feels not bad, like they're doing a bad thing, but it just feels weird. But I do know not selling this stuff anymore, not giving this away anymore, perfect. Perfect. If that was all it was, if it was like, we will no longer be giving these items away, this would be S tier. But because they're also like, and we're going to take it away from everybody that already has it, that's what makes me go like, I don't know about that, question mark. It's in B for that reason. All right, well, this is my tier list. Let me know what you guys think. Did I put anything somewhere you wouldn't have? Let me know in the comments if I made a choice that really baffled you, or let me know if you agree with what I did here, and let me know what your most favorite and least favorite changes in this road to redemption are, because I'm curious to hear about it. Well, thank you guys for watching so much. I hope you appreciated this video. If you like this video, please leave it a like, because that really, really helps me, and it really gets my stuff out to other people who might also be interested. If you want to see the top 5 things that I think old school RuneScape does better than RuneScape 3, check out this video.